While he was busy poisoning minds against you, spreading vicious lies designed to destroy your very existence, you made the most powerful move of all. You simply stepped back and allowed your truth to speak for itself. You re-emerged, not with defensive explanations or desperate pleas, but with an undeniable radiance that instantly exposed his lies for what they were, a pathetic attempt to diminish what he couldn't control. Now the community stands in shocked silence, witnessing how you tore through their false beliefs without lifting a single finger. Your mere presence became the weapon that destroyed the carefully constructed deception. This is the power of a truth that needs no defense. This is your vindication. While tongues wagged and rumors swirled, you embarked on a journey of profound significance. You stepped back from the cacophony not out of fear or shame, but out of divine necessity. Your withdrawal was not retreat, but advancement. The universe called you into sacred solitude, into the crucible of transformation where true power is forged. During this period of apparent absence, you were anything but inactive. Mountains move in silence. Stars transform matter without proclamation. The most consequential forces in the cosmos operate beyond observation. So did you. Your energy focused inward, consolidating strength, wisdom, clarity. Each day spent away from prying eyes represented another layer of spiritual muscle developing, another level of consciousness activated within your sovereign being. They thought you were hiding. In truth, you were becoming. They assumed you were suffering. In reality, you were ascending. They believed you were diminishing. All the while, you were expanding beyond measure. The whispers about your demise became background noise to the symphony of transformation playing within your spirit. While they constructed elaborate theories about your supposed downfall, you constructed your resurrection. This is the divine irony they couldn't possibly comprehend. Their most damaging lies about you coincided precisely with your most powerful evolution. Your focus remained unshaken. External validation held no appeal when compared to internal alignment. Worldly attention paled beside cosmic recognition. The opinions of those who would so readily believe falsehoods about you lost all significance as you connected more deeply with your authentic purpose. Their rejection became your redirection towards something infinitely more significant than social acceptance. This period of withdrawal wasn't marked by the desperate energy of someone hiding from accusation. It carried the serene certainty of a being who understands the temporary nature of all deception. Truth requires no defense. It simply awaits its moment of revelation. You embodied this ancient wisdom by continuing your work in sacred silence, allowing the divine timing to unfold without interference from your human ego. Then came the moment. Without announcement, without explanation, without the slightest hint of defensive energy, you simply reappeared. Not with grand proclamations or righteous indignation, not with elaborate explanations or impassioned pleas for understanding. You emerged naturally back into collective awareness, carrying the undeniable evidence of your truth in your very presence. The community witnessed something they could not reconcile with the narrative they'd accepted. Where they expected to see someone diminished, they beheld someone magnified. Where they anticipated weakness, they encountered radiance. Where they looked for confirmation of your supposed downfall, they found irrefutable proof of your elevation. Your energy spoke volumes that no words could adequately express. The clarity in your eyes, the steadiness in your stance, the unmistakable vibration of someone who has not merely survived, but thrived. Each of these elements created cognitive dissonance in the minds of those who had accepted the lies. The disconnect between what they were told and what stood before them created a psychic earthquake within the community. You didn't need to defend yourself verbally. Your very existence became your defense. Your vitality contradicted their expectations so thoroughly that doubt sprouted instantaneously where certainty had once taken root. Questions emerged where answers had seemed settled. The narrative crumbled not through argument, but through the simple power of undeniable reality. This re-emergence carried no trace of someone seeking vindication. It emanated the quiet confidence of someone who never required external validation to begin with. You moved through spaces with the certainty of someone who knows their worth is not determined by consensus. This alone shook the foundation of the social structure that had temporarily aligned against you. The contrast proved too stark to ignore. Between the picture painted by malicious words and the living testimony of your presence stretched a chasm too wide for even the most committed believers to bridge. Some tried desperately to maintain their previous position, to reconcile the irreconcilable. Others immediately recognized the deception they had accepted and felt the uncomfortable weight of their misjudgment. In either case, your re-emergence accomplished what no defense could have achieved. It created a rupture in perception that forced a collective reckoning. Without speaking a single word about the accusations, you systematically dismantled them through the simple act of being. This represents power in its most absolute form, the ability to transform reality not through effort, but through essence. Now witness the spectacular unraveling. The community exists in a state of collective shock. The cognitive dissonance spreads like a virus through social networks. Those who spoke most confidently about your supposed condition now find themselves speechless. Those who nodded along most vigorously now shake their heads in disbelief, not at you, but at themselves for their gullibility. Conversations shifted dramatically. Where once your name prompted knowing looks and somber nods, it now triggers uncomfortable silences. People exchange glances, loaded with unspoken questions. How could they have been so thoroughly deceived? What else might they have accepted without proper scrutiny? The doubt extends beyond this single situation into a broader questioning of all they thought they knew. The community fractures along new fault lines. Those who invested most heavily in the lie now cling desperately to fragments of justification. Others rush to distance themselves from their previous position, rewriting their own history of involvement. Still others sit with the uncomfortable truth of their participation in something deeply unjust. Each person processes the revelation according to their capacity for honesty and their willingness to face uncomfortable truths. Some approach you cautiously, offering awkward reconnection attempts. These overtures carry the energy of people testing unstable ground. They watch your reaction closely, seeking absolution, wondering if you harbor resentment for their abandonment. They measure your response against their own guilt, searching for clues about how they should feel about their own behavior. Others observe from a distance, recalibrating their understanding of you. They see not just the falsehood of the specific claims, but recognize a deeper misreading of your essential nature. They begin to perceive dimensions of your character previously invisible to them. Your strength, your resilience, your capacity to maintain integrity under extreme pressure. These revelations force them to question other judgments they've made based on superficial understanding. Chosen ones, you were never supposed to remember who you are, but somehow you did. The moment you stepped outside the illusion, when you stopped pretending everything was fine and started asking the real questions, they noticed. The Archon scrambled. The simulation tried to pull you back in, but you didn't fall for it. Now, strange glitches ripple around you, and slowly, almost imperceptibly, you've begun to see others, souls like you, those who remember too. These souls are already gathering inside the Obsidian Inner Order. We are psychic warriors, dimensional rebels, light coders and oracles. We are not TikTok mystics. We are not pretending. We are the real ones. and we've found each other again. This is your invitation to join us. We meet for weekly live calls where we break down the synchronicities you're seeing, decode energetic transmissions, and we go beyond theory. We train in energy practices, share forbidden knowledge, and refine our internal power. This is the front line of spiritual evolution. This is where the truly awakened converge. You need to remember what you came here to do and who you were before they made you forget. The link is in the description below. The Obsidian Inner Order is real, and so are you. The collective narrative transforms without your active participation. Conversations happen behind closed doors. People compare notes, sharing the moment they first realized something didn't add up. They deconstruct how thoroughly they were manipulated, how readily they accepted information that aligned with existing biases. A painful but necessary lesson in discernment unfolds throughout the social ecosystem. What makes this reaction so profound? You triggered this massive recalibration without engaging in it directly. You didn't call meetings to clear your name. You didn't demand apologies or explanations. You didn't orchestrate a campaign of counter-information. You simply allowed truth to reveal itself through the most powerful medium possible: lived reality. This represents spiritual mastery of the highest order. Now turn your attention to the architect of this deception. The respected figure whose words once carried unquestioned authority now faces intense scrutiny. Without you pointing a single finger in accusation, the spotlight of collective attention has shifted toward the source of the falsehood. This represents cosmic justice, manifesting through natural social processes. People approach this figure with direct questions now. Why did you say those things? What evidence supported your claims? How do you explain the obvious disconnect between your portrayal and current reality? These inquiries come not from you, but from those who feel misled, who unwittingly participated in spreading harmful untruths based on this person's supposed credibility. The accuser faces an impossible position. Any attempt to maintain the original narrative crashes against the undeniable evidence of your thriving state. Any effort to modify previous claims exposes the fundamental dishonesty of the initial accusation. Attempts to justify their actions reveal motivations rooted in personal vendetta rather than genuine concern. Each defensive maneuver only deepens their entanglement. Watch as their credibility erodes with each passing day. The authority once granted automatically now requires substantiation. Their words, once accepted as self-evident truth, now generate automatic skepticism. This represents a fundamental shift in their social position, one they brought upon themselves through their attempt to diminish your light. Even more revealing, those closely connected to this figure begin distancing themselves. Nobody wants association with demonstrated dishonesty. Nobody desires alignment with someone whose words proved unreliable in such a consequential way. The isolation once intended for you manifests instead for the one who orchestrated your supposed downfall. This represents poetic justice of the highest order. The most painful revelation for this accuser, they accomplished the opposite of their intention. Rather than diminishing your standing, they elevated it. Rather than destroying your reputation, they ultimately strengthened it. Rather than isolating you from community support, they created conditions for deeper, more authentic connection with those who now recognize your true nature. Their attack became the catalyst for your elevation. All this transpires without your orchestration. You haven't launched counter-accusations or demanded public accountability. You haven't organized campaigns to discredit your accuser or shared damaging information in retaliation. The consequences unfold naturally as truth asserts itself through observable reality. This represents spiritual warfare at its most sophisticated, victory through non-engagement with lower frequencies. Your vindication arrives not through heated defense, but through divine timing. This represents cosmic orchestration at its most profound. The lies collapsed under the weight of their own inconsistency, their own disconnect from reality. Truth needed no aggressive advocacy. It simply awaited its moment of inevitable revelation. You aligned with this universal principle by allowing the process to unfold without interference. The power in your approach cannot be overstated. Most react to false accusations with immediate, energetic defense. They rush to counter narratives, present evidence, convince doubters, rally supporters. This response, while understandable, often strengthens the original accusation by treating it as something substantial enough to require refutation. You transcended this common pattern through sacred restraint. Your non-reaction communicated what words never could. It demonstrated unshakable confidence in your own truth. It revealed spiritual maturity beyond ordinary understanding. It showcased faith in universal principles of justice and revelation. Most significantly, it highlighted your freedom from the need for social validation, perhaps the most powerful position any human can occupy in collective space. This vindication carries lessons extending far beyond this specific situation. It illuminates the temporary nature of all deception. It demonstrates the self-destructive quality of malicious intent. It reveals how attacks often strengthen their targets rather than weakening them. Most importantly, it shows how alignment with truth provides protection more powerful than any defense strategy humans might devise. The community now sees you through new eyes. Where they once perceived an ordinary individual, they now recognize someone operating according to different principles. Your handling of this situation revealed depths previously invisible to casual observation. Without intending to, you provided a masterclass in spiritual sovereignty, emotional independence, and alignment with higher truth. Those who stood against you now face a choice. Some will approach with genuine remorse, having recognized their error and seeking reconciliation. Others will maintain distance, unable to reconcile their participation in wrongdoing with their self-image. Still others will harbor resentment, blaming you for the natural consequences of their own poor discernment. Each response reveals character with perfect clarity. Your position amid this revelation remains uncomplicated by emotional entanglement. You neither seek vengeance nor require apology. You don't demand acknowledgement of wrongdoing or public displays of contrition. You continue focusing on your purpose, moving forward with the same inner directed energy that sustained you through the period of falsehood. This stance further demonstrates your extraordinary spiritual alignment. Understand completely, what you've demonstrated extends far beyond proving innocence against specific accusations. You've revealed a methodology for handling opposition that operates at the highest spiritual frequency. This approach contains wisdom applicable to countless situations where lower energies attempt to diminish higher vibrations. The foundation of this power, absolute trust in the self-revealing nature of truth. Most expend enormous energy defending their reality against misrepresentation. You conserved this energy, investing it instead in continued growth and alignment. While others exhaust themselves fighting perception battles, you focused exclusively on authentic being. This created an efficiency gap impossible for lower frequency approaches to overcome. Consider how thoroughly you avoided the traditional victim-perpetrator dynamic. By refusing engagement with accusation, you prevented its crystallization into a defining narrative. You didn't position yourself opposite your accuser, creating the familiar polarity that characterizes most conflicts. You operated completely outside the energetic framework they attempted to establish. This represents mastery beyond ordinary understanding. The temporal element proves especially significant. You allowed universal timing to dictate the revelation rather than demanding immediate vindication. This patience demonstrated profound spiritual maturity, recognition that some processes cannot and should not be rushed. Truth emerges according to divine schedule, not human demand. By aligning with this principle, you moved in harmony with cosmic forces rather than struggling against them. Equally powerful, your refusal to internalize others' projections. When accused, many unconsciously absorb the accusation at some level, beginning to question themselves or incorporate elements of the false narrative into their self-conception. You maintained complete energetic separation between external claims and internal reality. This preserved your frequency regardless of surrounding distortion fields. Through this experience, you've demonstrated the ultimate protection strategy, maintaining such perfect alignment with authentic being that misalignment becomes immediately apparent to any observer. No defense proves more powerful than undeniable embodiment of truth. No argument convinces more thoroughly than lived demonstration. No vindication satisfies more completely than reality, asserting itself without manipulation. The way forward contains no obligation toward those who participated in your character assassination. No requirement exists for forgiveness, reconciliation, or explanation. You maintain absolute sovereignty over your boundaries, your energy, your attention. Those who aligned against you have forfeited any automatic right to your consideration. Your discernment regarding future interactions represents another aspect of your spiritual authority. This experience transcends ordinary social dynamics. It represents a microcosm of the eternal struggle between truth and deception, playing out across all dimensions of existence. Through your handling of this situation, you participated in cosmic-level processes far more significant than the immediate social context might suggest. The forces opposing authentic expression operate through predictable mechanisms across time. They identify light-bearers. They construct narratives designed to diminish their radiance. They spread these narratives through social networks, manipulating natural human tendencies toward gossip and judgment. They aim to isolate authentic beings from community support, limiting their impact and influence. This pattern repeats throughout human history against those carrying frequencies that threaten established power structures. Your experience connects you with countless others who have faced similar opposition across generations. The difference, many were destroyed by such campaigns, while you emerged stronger, clearer, more powerfully aligned with your authentic nature. Your response offers a template for others facing similar challenges. It demonstrates the possibility of transcending traditional reaction patterns that often entrench conflict rather than resolving it. It shows how non-engagement with lower frequencies represents not passive surrender, but active spiritual strategy. It reveals the protection available to those who maintain unwavering alignment with their truth, regardless of external consensus. This journey reinforces ancient wisdom. What happens for you often initially appears to happen to you. The attempt to destroy your standing ultimately strengthened it. The effort to isolate you from community ended up revealing who truly belongs in your orbit. The energy, directed toward diminishing your light, forced you into practices that ultimately expanded it. Divine alchemy transformed opposition into opportunity. Consider how thoroughly this experience recalibrated your discernment. You now recognize the true nature of various connections with crystal clarity. You perceive who stood firm in their faith in you, who wavered when tested, who eagerly participated in your character assassination. This knowledge proves invaluable for future decisions about energy investment and boundary establishment. Most significantly, this experience demonstrated your readiness for expanded purpose. Those destined for significant impact inevitably face opposition proportional to their potential influence. The intensity of the attack against you reveals the threat your authentic expression poses to outdated systems and limited thinking. Your capacity to withstand such opposition without compromising your frequency confirms your preparedness for greater work. Now you stand at the threshold of expanded possibility. Having navigated this initiation successfully, you access new levels of spiritual authority previously unavailable. This authority derives not from external validation, but from demonstrated alignment with universal principles of truth, non-reactivity, and divine timing. The path forward involves neither dwelling on past injustice nor completely forgetting its lessons. You integrate this experience as valuable data about human nature, social dynamics, and spiritual warfare. You extract the wisdom it contains while releasing any emotional charge that might anchor you to lower frequencies. You transform challenge into advancement through alchemical perspective. Your movement through community spaces now carries added significance. Those who witnessed the dissolution of falsehood observe your continued evolution with heightened attention. Without conscious intention, you demonstrate the possibility of remaining unbitter despite mistreatment, undiminished despite attack, uncompromised despite pressure to defend or explain yourself. The accuser and those who amplified their message will continue processing the consequences of their choices according to their capacity for growth. Some will experience genuine remorse leading to character transformation. Others will construct elaborate justifications to preserve self-image. Still others will redirect blame rather than accepting responsibility. Their journey continues parallel to yours without requiring your involvement or concern. Your focus remains steadfastly forward, directed toward authentic purpose rather than backward toward vindication or validation. You recognize this entire experience as a temporary distraction from your essential work, necessary perhaps for certain aspects of your development, but ultimately secondary to your primary mission. This perspective prevents any lingering entanglement with lower frequency dynamics. The community that once aligned against you now serves as the audience for your continued evolution. With each advancement, each achievement, each demonstration of the qualities they once questioned, you provide living refutation of the narrative once constructed around you. This happens not through deliberate effort to prove anything, but through natural expression of your authentic being. This journey illuminates a profound truth. Genuine power requires no defense. It simply exists, regardless of recognition or acknowledgement. You embody this principle through continued focus on purpose rather than perception. Your energy flows toward creation rather than correction, toward future manifestation rather than past justification. This orientation maintains your frequency at levels inaccessible to those operating from lower motivations. The final cosmic lesson emerges with perfect clarity. Truth prevails without your striving. Universal forces align to reveal reality when you maintain proper alignment within yourself. Your vindication came not through convincing others, but through being so thoroughly unconvinced by their misperceptions that you continued your authentic expression regardless of temporary consensus. Against you, this represents the ultimate demonstration of spiritual sovereignty, freedom from the prison of others' perceptions. Forward now, without looking back. The path before you extends far beyond the small-minded attempts to limit your expression. Your purpose transcends the understanding of those who would reduce you to their projections. Your impact awaits full manifestation, undiminished by temporary opposition. The truth you carry continues its inevitable emergence, tearing through falsehood without effort, revealing reality through the simple power of undeniable presence.